Well, g'day and welcome to this week's video blog titled The Journey to Wholeness. This is week 13 since my medical moment. I want to share some things about the journey as it's occurred in the last week in the level of actual physical, my body. On Thursday, this is being recorded on Saturday morning. On Thursday, I went for a swim, my first time in the pool. I swam 200 meters of breaststroke, and then I did 200 meters of freestyle, and I did it with 4 50-meter yards laps, and so that was wonderful. I stood on the side of the pool before I got in, and thank God that I could stand there and actually get in the water. A while ago I thought maybe I would never swim again or even golf again, so it was great to get in the water. I love swimming and the feel of it. My strokes pretty good in terms of my hands and pulling. The lap speed was surprised me. I was able to swim them under 60 seconds per lap freestyle, which is, for me at 62, that's pretty good movement through the water. So I'm very happy that I can now swim at least 3 or 4 times a week. The part of the journey, the wholeness, as of discovering, it is a discovery, is some now where I am so well considered my body is the part of the mind and spirit. And last 2 weeks I've come in contact with my experience of guilt as I'm on this current journey regarding health and sickness. I grew up in a dairy farm outside of Brisbane in Australia, and the implicit and if not explicit expectation was that if you're really sick, you should need to lie down and get better. But if you weren't sick enough to lie down, then you weren't really sick, so you kept working. So to convince father and or mother that you were sick, you had to be almost near death. From age 7 through to 18, when I left home, this understanding was kind of taken on by me as a belief. You have to keep pushing yourself, milk cows morning and night, 7 days a week, because that's what you do. That's what boys do. It's what men do. So you have to be hard and tough. It's a work. You're a worker. And so that was I was 18, and then after I was priested, I worked as a parish in the Diocese of Rockhampton, and it's a rural parish, and it's quite big, 2,000 square kilometres. In one section there was dairy farms, another section were pigs and grain and chickens and whatnot, and the other section further west was beef cattle, so mustering cattle on horseback and so on. And I discovered that guilt is part of my work. And when I was out visiting with parishioners, I'd feel guilty that I wasn't back in my study doing more preparation for the sermon. When I was sitting in my study preparing for the sermon, I felt guilty I wasn't out spending more time with the parishioners. And now the twin homes of the lever's guilt as I experienced it. And also in the context and the culture, the men, nearly all the men in the parish, worked on farms, hard work, up early, get to bed late, 7 days a week, and that's work, and men worked. And so I would turn up to do church on a Sunday morning, and the men would look at me with soft hands and peachy skin. I'm not in the sun, and that kind of be nice and kind of the benign kind of greeting. But there's this tacit kind of understanding that priests don't really work. They only do it on Sunday, and the rest of the week they're out visiting women at home while the men are working, and you're drinking cups of tea and having lettuce sandwiches. So it was a very difficult thing. And so now in this process of journey to wholeness, I'm now in contact with the internal arising, coming service, the servicing of my experience of being guilty in my experience of having had a stroke, where now I can walk, I'm talking better, I can drive, I can go for a swim, and of course if someone saw me going for a swim and walking back in the car and shopping, they might think, he's on disability? You're going to be kidding me, you know? So that it's an interesting window for those who you know have had this ability, a variety of sources and kinds, whether it is physical, like if you had a broken leg and that crutches, people go, well, he can't walk, poor bugger's got a broken leg. But once someone's sitting there and they have the silent and not seeable internal effects of the stroke, they can't see it. And so I bought a stationary bike here and a treadmill last week. I do 20 minutes on that bike, and within about an hour I can't talk. I'm so tired, I'm speechless, which for some people is good. So this is a work in progress of being able to maintain the spiritual dimensions of the journey, where I have to kind of let go of, in the past, my self-worth was more in the area of doing and not as much in the area of being. And so now I have an opportunity to experience and take joy in being me, being a priest, without the kind of the work of doing. And that is work. Rehabilitation is work. It is demanding spiritually, psychologically, and physically. And so I appreciate your prayers and support as we journey together, and each of us does the appropriate work and live fully, live well, live strong, and live long. Blessings, and we'll see you next week.